Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to your part two of the weekend for the weekly Steelchair for your very late but appropriately timed Fastlane Preview show. Obviously, it makes sense to just go live before the pre-show starts, and we're doing it an hour and 25 minutes before the pre-show starts, so we're superior. But welcome to your
to be fair, I was backing ourselves to the point that I thought we could actually just go head-to-head with the pre-show.
We could go a bit longer.
A bit
longer.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe cooler heads have prevailed in us not doing that. And obviously you're saying that we'll go an hour earlier, which is, absolutely fine and all good. And yeah, we have Fastlane to discuss. If you've got any questions about anything that isn't Fastlane related, we likely covered it yesterday.
But happy to repeat ourselves.
Question in the chat yesterday and we didn't get to it, drop the question again and we'll see if we get to it tonight. However,
Absolutely.
We are focusing mainly tonight on Fastlane and the ensuing WWE action. How's your Saturday been, Reece?
It's been fairly quiet, actually. A good sense of peace, but not too bad. Replaced my blinds, so they're out. So the white ones are out and red ones are in. It's been
such
quiet.
An adult thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought I would just change things about, but other than that, I've just been relaxed and been tidying up. But a little bit of FIFA 23 because I'm not buying EFC 24 until maybe November. Because I've got a few other games to play first that are coming out very shortly, like Spider-Man 2 and Assassin's Creed. And obviously, I've been playing a little bit more Combat. But
fair enough. It's actually FC stopping me buying the Scarlet and Violet DLC at the moment because
makes sense.
I know that I'm not going to play it, but when FC enters a quiet patch, I will pick it up. But FC
that's when I'm going to get it. That's when I'm going to pick up. Yeah, probably the second week in November when they do an actual update is when I'll pick up. But apart from that, not much. And also, I watched a little bit of the football, which was at the end okay, but overall depressing. But other than that, a little bit of extra wrestling as well. I watched a few classic matches today that I really enjoyed. I hadn't watched in quite some time. But apart from you, how was your Saturday?
My Saturday's been good. Yep, been across into the capital, and now we're back to discuss the Fastlane show. Should be a really good one. Based on what we've got lined up for us, it's a very intriguing set of matches that we'll be able to get into. And of course, over the course of the next hour or so, hour and a half, we'll see how far we go. We're just going to cover everything that we would expect to see in the show. Obviously, predictions are there, so anyone watching, get your predictions in as well. Yes, and we're just going to see where this takes us and where the Fastlane begins. Well, obviously, your pre-shows have changed now. No longer do we have a match to avoid. Just tends to be a panel, which is why, it's another reason I thought we could just go ahead. But you can listen to the best panel first, and then you can listen to whatever WWE managed to send out there.
You can listen to the real panel, and then you can listen to the B-Techs like Kayla Braxton and Booker T and all that. You can listen to them later.
And is it Sam Roberts? Sam something.
Yeah, him. Born as piss.
I'm not too interested. But I am interested to see what they do with the Fastlane. Speaking of which, we don't know the complete order.
I know 1 and 2.
We know the start. We know the finish.
Yes. So we've got our own little order that we can go with, and we are going to get cracking in, and we're going to start with
let's get going.
One that you, funnily enough, messaged me saying that you weren't so sure about, just when you were thinking about how it was going to go, and we're going to dive straight in. Your tonight's opening contest is this. Sorry, hold on. Let me just reword that.
Right.
1 second. Let me just reword that. I just noticed a little typo. That's my mistake. Apologies, everybody. 1 second. It's because I typed two twats.
Sorry.
At the
same time. If there's a mistake on this show, you've made it, for I am flawless.
No, you do make mistakes as well.
But
I own my mistakes. I own my mistakes. But anyway, yeah. So Ancient Priest and Finn Balor, as obviously the Judgment Day, defending undisputed tag team champions, defend their tag titles against Cody Rhodes and Jew. So, are you even excited for this one? Be honest, because I'm 50-50.
Yeah, no, I think this is really exciting. I think when you've got two guys that have managed to get themselves over to that extent, it's exciting. I mean, I don't think the finish is particularly intriguing as to who wins. I think it would be daft to have Cody win any other title before he finishes the story.
If he finishes it.
I think it would be a win at this point. But yeah, I am interested to see what they do and how they do it. And obviously the fact that it's the opener that we've got, we're wondering, okay, well, does this set up Cody's feud to take him to the Rumble? Does it set up Jay with a feud? You know, how does Jay feature back into Bloodline stuff? There's a lot going on, and WWE's done really well to, you know, watch several pots at once, which is weird because, like, obviously at the height of them pushing Roman as the babyface, it was very much like there was one pot boiling and it was just Roman Reigns. No one else was getting over. And obviously we'll touch upon it again later, but I like that there are 4 main event babyface guys involved in tag action tonight. And then, of course, you've also got Seth Rollins, who'll still get a huge reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, WWE's been doing really well with the booking lately, specifically with the baby faces. They've been really strong. The crowd have been allowed to support the guys that have then done things in the ring. It's not just been like we used to see with Daniel Bryan and Zack Ryder, and obviously CM Punk would feature his own name on there as well. I would argue that if you get to be champion for over 400 days, you were used. But yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting to see these 2 top baby faces against, I mean, let's face it, while Roman Reigns is off the screen, the top heels in the company.
Yeah, true. Great comment, Paul. I'll come back to it because that actually it is on my mind tonight, funnily enough. That is on my mind. I've said it before. I think premium live event wise, WWE are doing really well. But when it comes to TV, it's been few and far between where it's been mixed. And I said it last night. I gave them the props for the numbers they're making on TV. They've got good reach, so they're getting big numbers. But in terms of actual story wise, across Raw and SmackDown, it's not been great in my opinion. It hasn't been enjoyable at times. Whereas watching NXT, it's excitement every single week. And it's not just the actual storytelling, it's the match quality as well. It's so polar opposite. It's better on a Tuesday night than it is on a Monday or on a Friday. But
yeah,
when it gets to that event, they deliver.
Yeah, well, I would say that NXT's charged at different people. You know,
because they've got a better booker, in my opinion. Personally, I've said it for a long time.
Like WWE aren't expecting a casual audience for NXT. WWE use NXT to try and hoover up Dynamite's audience. You know, because Dynamite's audience will watch wrestling, so NXT put on wrestling. Whereas the sports entertainment side of it is obviously saved for Raw and SmackDown. The general public will watch sports entertainment, but the wrestling fan, it's not their favourite thing. So I think that's where that difference is.
I stand involved in that one because I prefer.
Yeah.
I prefer storytelling from a match quality.
Let's have a look at the comment that came in there.
Yeah, Paul's comment is pretty much on my mind because it's what I'm also thinking.
So we get cash in after the last one standing. Cody wins the title from Priest after the Rumble. That
there's a yes and no to this. There's a yes that, and I'll say this, it would be, and I'll touch on it later on, but I'm going to say it now anyway. It would be stupid for Damian Priest not to cash in after a last man standing But Cody Rhodes should not be winning the world title. Even though he's on Raw at the moment, I still think he goes to SmackDown. I think it would be stupid for Cody to win the world title because that's not the one he's come for.
Yeah, that's where my issue with this is. Like,
I think it's a great idea, though.
Being finished, and at this point, okay, like even if you don't think he should actually finish the story, he's got to at least get the chance to again.
Like,
you know, we can't be doing all of this and not have a Cody versus Roman rematch.
Like, I stand by it. I stand by it, and I'm not going to change my mind. Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble in 2024 is the wrong decision. He should not be winning the Rumble again, because that's just setting up for more. We know what's coming, and I stand by my decision. For me, the Rumble winner should go to Gunther. He's the best position guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He should be winning the Rumble. Cody should win. If Cody's going to still go through this whole hard times finishing the story that he's created for himself, he should be in the Rumble, but he should be losing the Rumble. He should win the Elimination Chamber. That's the last chance to get to Roman at WrestleMania. He should win the Elimination Chamber because that is enduring another hard-fought match. If he wins the Rumble, it's a waste. That should be set up for Gunther, personally, in my opinion. Unless Gunther's world champion of the Rumble.
Waste, but I see where you're coming from with that. It might not be the best use of the Rumble. I think the cash-in does happen.
If it doesn't happen tonight, then I don't know where it goes. Tonight,
or Damian Priest is going to get in the way of plans that seem very well laid.
Do you want him to be
unless they do the swerve of all swerves and what they were doing with the Judgment Day actually leads to Damian Priest cashing in on Roman Reigns?
Yeah, I mean, he did mention them.
Unbelievable as a moment. I just worry
the fallout would suck.
What it builds to, yeah. I wonder where you would actually go from there. Do they push with The Rock?
I would only say, here's the thing: they've got so much money being thrown at them because Saudi Arabia is coming up very soon, the Crown Jewel event. Do you go with that, or do you hold it to WrestleMania? For me personally, they don't need to have Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. I mean, as a Rock fan,
no, Crown
see the
Jewel
Rock at Mania. But Crown Jewel, Rock versus Roman at Crown Jewel would be fine if it's Rock versus Roman at Crown Jewel. The amount of money, they don't need to have a world title on the line. Well, the Universal title, they don't need that on the line. You could just have Rock versus Roman, get it over and done with, and it would still produce money.
Yeah, I mean, there's a school of thought that Roman actually loses his title before WrestleMania. I can't see that happening at this point.
There's no other option left.
I thought that basically, if Roman wants to fight The Rock at Mania, he won't have the title to do it.
But here's the thing.
Like, using Damian Priest to get the belt off Roman is such a swerve, but I worry that Damian Priest is such a... And it's not taking anything away from Priest, but it is a gulfing quality between him and Roman that's just... It feels insurmountable. I wouldn't be able to, buy Damian Priest dominating WWE the way Roman Reigns has. And of course, we don't now need every single champion to be on that Roman Reigns level of dominance. But you can't have the one after him be transitional.
I like Damian Priest, but I still reiterate that man should fail his cash in. I don't believe he's world championship material. I don't think he is. I think he's more mid-card than anything else.
I think he is on Raw. I think on Raw he's
I still don't think he is, personally. I'm having other people ahead of him as world champion. If he wins that world title, then for me it's a month and then transition and he loses it. I don't think he's good enough to hold it for more than 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, which I think is fine for Raw because he's not coming off the... Whoever beats Roman cannot lose it within a month.
Whoever beats Roman anyway is already screwed.
Yeah, they're not going to get to the levels of that just in terms of longevity and everything. But
it's not. No,
what
that's
I
not
mean
what.
is they
It's not just
can't
that.
just be. They can't just be. Oh, I held it. You know, like when Johnny Gargano got the NXT title.
Well, fans were
It
bored
can't
within
be like
minutes.
for the moment and then lose it again. It's got to be something that's like planned and executed properly and everything like that. So
no, I agree, and that
I can
gives me
see
a
the cash
problem.
coming tonight, but I think it would be on. I think it'd be, as Paul said, it would be after the last man standing. He wouldn't hang around for anything related to Roman Reigns. I mean, especially because Roman Reigns isn't there, or at least we think he is.
But this is my other issue as well, though, and this is something that it presses me, is like who becomes champion after they beat Roman. Is we're so used to Roman being champion for so long, and for goodness sake, I need that title off him because it's overbearing as fuck. But fans have as much attention span as a newborn child. Their attention span is not good. Whoever wins the title from Roman, say it's Cody Rhodes, within 4 or 5 months, they're just going to be like, next one, please. Can they keep the title interesting after you beat Roman? It's not like, to be for that, because it is actually a posing question, is the difficulty of how do you maintain that? Because let's be real, am I a fan of Roman Reigns? No. Do I think he produces numbers? To a degree. Has he kept the title hot?
Who was the last babyface champion that had a run of over a year that was hot throughout?
No one.
Oh, that's right. Or like even over 6 months as a babyface champion. You got to remember, like a babyface champion, we're not expecting them to have it for a year. You know, very few are able to actually do that.
I think the last one
wins more often than the face.
It's because we all know the heels are better.
When the face wins it, it is supposed to be this short burst. Yeah, you did it. What I'm saying is make it a short burst by giving Cody a 6-month reign, 7-month reign. You probably get 8 out of it. Could he go a year? We'll see how hot he still is. We'll see what programs he's put in. You know, if Cody ends up fighting Seth Rollins again, I think people would be all right with that. If he ends up fighting Nakamura, I think people would be all right with that. There's certainly the potential, if he has the match with Gunther, you know, there is potential to run a Cody world title run for 6+ months, but there isn't really the potential to run it for over a year. In any case, we're going to get back on topic with the tag match here.
The last year-long run, though, for a babyface, funnily enough, the last 1-year run for a babyface WWE champion was AJ Styles.
Yeah, it was AJ Styles, and it wasn't.
That wasn't his fault. That WWE's booking was shite for it.
I know. I mean, the Samoa Joe match really didn't work. There were
they screwed them both. Yeah,
in that one. But yeah, anyway. So as far as this tag match goes, who I would ask who you've got. I suppose I will ask who you've got, but I'm fairly certain I know who you've got.
I've gone for the heels to retain. I've gone Judgment Day to retain this one. They're doing really well at the moment, even though I think there's some things I would change within that faction. But
yeah, well, I mean, Dominic Mysterio obviously got his belt back. Damian Priest will win his belt before Finn Balor costs Judgment Day theirs.
I think we're getting to the question, though, is if they were to lose tonight and Priest doesn't cash in, they still have the rematch clause, which is right, because let's be real, like Rhea Ripley literally forced it upon Dominic that he actually does have that rematch and needs to win, and he did. Now Priest has finally remembered that he's got money in the bank, so he can cash it in when he's ready. Finn Balor literally has these titles until they lose, which is obviously a cliche statement, and it's an obvious statement. But what if they actually? It's not changing my prediction. This is just a what if. What would happen for you? What would happen theoretically, in your opinion, if Judgment Day lost tonight and they lost the rematch, say on Monday Night Raw?
Well, I think then you're potentially in the position of.
I'm not changing my mind, by the way.
The way you get out of this with a Judgment Day double defeat has to be that Finn Balor takes the briefcase.
Do you think he will take it though?
I think I'd rather have it on him. He wouldn't have any reason to, not do that. And then, what if Finn Balor and Damian Priest come to blows? Finn hits Priest with something. Maybe even we know that JD McDonough is close to Finn Balor. So what if those two, incapacitate Damian Priest, force him out of the arena, and they do a thing like it's a shame about Damian, but it's an even bigger shame that he left this behind, and then it's actually Finn Balor who cashes in tonight.
Similar to what happened with Damage Control. Funnily enough, similar in a way, because it was constantly teasing about who is going to do it. Because that's all they were saying for a while, is who's going to cash in. Is it going to be Io, or is Bayley going to somehow take it? If Finn Balor did take the Money in the Bank, I'd be more convinced by Balor as a champion, even though he failed to beat Rollins twice. I still think he'd be more convincing than Priest.
Convinced by comes from the fact just that you've seen Finn Balor do it before.
Yeah, and he did deserve it. Yeah, and I still think Finn Balor still deserves at least one genuine run as champion on the main roster. Because he never had that. He never had that. And to be fair, the first match I'm giving him after if he was to beat Rollins, if he'd done that, if he was to go by your way of saying that Balor took the briefcase and then he did beat Rollins, you do have some really interesting matches there anyway that he's got. But again, that's if he goes with the babyface route, Finn Balor's a babyface versus Nakamura. I'm already hooked anyway, from both WWE perspective from NXT, and I'm hooked as a New Japan fan because it was great in New Japan. So I'm hooked either way. But I still have a little bit of reservations because I've already seen Styles versus Nakamura in New Japan at the Tokyo Dome, and it didn't work in WWE. I still have that little bit of hesitation, but I'd still be I'm hooked.
I think so. We're both going Judgment Day in any case here.
Yeah, I'm going heels to retain. I don't see the need to have them drop it, as they're about to split the titles anyway. So I don't see the need in Judgment Day losing just yet. But I like the added continuous tension of them all coming to blows, and it's always Rhea Ripley that's having to step in and stop it when, frankly, she should be focusing on her own division anyway. But again, it just shows the hierarchy within the brand. I have moved some matches around compared to what was on Wikipedia, because I want to have a little bit of what I think could well be the semi the semi-main before we get there. So I'm going to jump straight into this one. Triple threat. So Io Sky versus Asuka versus Nepotist Flair. I think we can already pretty much guess what's going to happen in this one, but I'm going to give it to you when you go. What are you thinking on this one?
Tough to say that you bet against Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Tougher to say you bet against Charlotte Flair when the stable dynamic could come to bite the champion.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a couple of stables at the moment in WWE that do just feel a little like, they could snap at any moment. And I'm like, okay, no, we need calmness, we need stability, we need you to just behave, be good now. So I think because there's a bit of be good now, I want to back Io to retain here. I don't think it's time for her to lose it. I think she's barely had it. It still feels so fresh on her. And there are so many matches that we haven't got that we could get with this Io Sky run. It feels so fresh as to only just have happened, as if she's won the title last night. I feel like we've seen so little of it. I feel like we need a 1v1 between Io Sky and Asuka, which is why I would question Charlotte's involvement.
The rematch at least was great. That match went about 30 minutes on SmackDown.
I want Io Sky to rematch Bianca Belair. I want Io Sky to face, eventually the members of Damage Control while she still has the belt. I think you could, funnily enough, get a year-plus title run out of Io Sky. I think she is spectacular. And I think there's enough, especially if you then incorporated that people could come from NXT, if you incorporated that the Witches could maybe have a go. I think there's definitely enough on SmackDown for Io Sky. And, a couple of jumbles around, and they're clearly okay with moving people over from Raw. Becky Lynch will eventually drop the NXT title, so you get Io Sky versus Becky Lynch, and that feels fresh. Io Sky is this vibrant drop of colour in a division that felt so grey. And the person I would have her eventually drop this belt to would be someone else that would then give you that, almost another year of just fresh matches, which would be Dakota Kai.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
The belt last night, while those two had their match, and it absolutely suits Dakota Kai's shoulder.
Because you remember what I said. Right. You remember what I said after Money in the Bank when I said Io Sky wins it. I said to you, what I really hope is Io Sky will go on that run. Bayley will turn on her, which she's already heels anyway, but Bayley will turn on her. Bayley versus Io Sky at the Royal Rumble. Dakota Kai wins the Women's Royal Rumble, which I still hope happens. My backup is obviously Shayna Baszler, but that ain't going to happen. But Dakota Kai is still my favourite to win the Rumble. She's been my pick since Money in the Bank. Dakota wins the Rumble. We get Io Sky and a returning Kairi Sane as a tag team for Elimination Chamber versus Bayley and Dakota Kai. Then at WrestleMania, you have Kairi Sane versus Bayley. You have Io Sky defend the title versus Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai goes over. I'd have Dakota Kai going over, but you get a good follow-up, potentially. Give or take, I think you could have Dakota Kai win the title at WrestleMania, but I do like the idea of at least Io Sky going from SummerSlam to SummerSlam. I wouldn't be against that either. Like I wouldn't be against that. If it's not WrestleMania, it's SummerSlam. But for me, it has to be the two names I think that should take the title off Io Sky in a different way. One of them is Dakota Kai because of the vibrancy, which I really do like. I agree with you. I think she's absolutely fantastic. It's a shame she got injured. The other one, funnily enough, is the woman that I've just mentioned, and that's Kairi Sane, because Kairi Sane is absolutely fucking outstanding.
Yeah, well, Kairi Sane will also feel fresh as well because of all the names that are around.
But I do have a short name.
People who are hurt as well, and the people that they could call up. I mean, Indy Hartwell could get a good match out of Io, because Io could get a good match out of anyone. But it'll feel so fresh if you just don't rush it off her, because Asuka, okay, we've been there and done that recently, and
she gets robbed all the time, which we know. She gets robbed all the time.
You hurried the belt off her, so don't hurry it back onto her. That's for Charlotte. Yawn. Let's just not
keep her away
again.
She's bored
you have a chance here, WWE, to do something like give us a run for a year with a women's title. Obviously, especially if Rhea Ripley isn't, there.
And the women that can wrestle.
Right. Yeah, you're going to need a fighting women's champion, and I think as a heel or a face, Io Sky can do it.
I was going to say
to have this. You've just got to let the run play out. Obviously there's no Money in the Bank jeopardy. She won it with Money in the Bank. This felt like what they could have done with Liv Morgan, but Liv Morgan was good, but not quite that good. With Io Sky, you're guaranteeing yourself good matches. You're guaranteeing yourself strong feuds, interesting lockups, everything like that. And all you have to do is not put the belt back on Charlotte or Asuka. And I don't think they will yet. So I'm going to go with an Io Sky retention here.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, as a shock name, because I think very soon there's two other names that I think you could get a shock where they will come up and just challenge Io Sky. She's still champion. The first one's Tiffany Stratton, who has been impressing me a lot lately. I spoke about it last night. The other one is the other one. I'm still a massive fan of. I think she's got a great character, good in-ring work psychology, but she's been fucked over on NXT for too long, and I'm sick of it. The other one's Cora Jade.
Yeah, Cora Jade is great. Cora Jade would be great. So you're also going Io, are you?
I am, and the reason that I'm going that is purely because I'm sticking with what I want for WrestleMania, and I hope that's what happens. So I'm going with Io just because I really want to see Io versus Dakota WrestleMania 1-on-1.
I like that, because when have wrestling predictions ever been let down by this is what I hope will happen?
Yeah, I know. Next one. To be fair, I've already mugged this team off, but it's because I generally think they suck. 6-man tag team match, LWO with a mystery partner versus Lashley and the Lashley and the Failed Prophets, as I call them now. But I'm going to be honest with them.
Lashley and the Heat Prophets?
They've got no heat whatsoever. They've got none. Like they had guaranteed heat if they just beat the piss out of Rey Mysterio, but they couldn't even do that properly. So this one for me is an escape. This one's just a simple, hopefully LWO with Carlito. If it's Carlito, just beat them, and that's the end of it.
They suck. What I wanted to talk about. You know, who's the third guy? A lot of people are saying Carlito. I'm going same island. I reckon this is a Bad Bunny.
See, a few people think it's Bad Bunny down the line. I don't want it to be Bad Bunny because it's always the celebrity choice. And I'm like, can we just go with something already internal?
I know, but he's over. He's good. He hasn't lost yet. So it was more of a claim.
I know.
Imagine the heat you'll get if Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits pin Bad Bunny.
But they couldn't get heat. But you cannot give Lashley and the Street Profits heat to begin with because they don't even know how to generate. They're still doing the same babyface stuff. They're still being cheered for their shit entrance.
In front of a crowd that is into Bad Bunny, and I'll be honest, I don't know where the event is tonight. Actually, that's kind of.
I don't think it would change. I don't think it would change, honestly, because the Street Profits have not done anything significant to prove themselves as a heel team. It's in Indianapolis.
Yeah, okay. You probably not got too many Bad Bunny fans there, but I still think it would get heat if you had, because Bad Bunny will get a pop. We know this. We know the man is mad for a pop.
Yeah, true, and a high continuous spots. But I do like when
it is even better then if it is Bad Bunny, and then Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits go over pinning Bad Bunny. Because Rey Mysterio, we've seen Rey Mysterio pinned. You know, we've seen this thing. There were people saying it was Dragon Lee.
No,
like this person.
He's already there. He's already on. Yeah, already at SmackDown.
Rey Mysterio said, "Let me make a phone call." So if it ends up being Dragon Lee, he called someone that he saw in the ring.
Yeah, which is pretty delusional booking.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's not going to be Dragon Lee. I think people have certainly narrowed it down to the right two. I think it is going to be Bad Bunny.
How funny would it be
if it's Conan? Bad Bunny is then going to eat the pin. Because the LWO don't need this win.
I do.
Feel like Lashley and the Street Profits do.
I think both sides. Funnily enough, see for this one, like this is the one match where technically both sides actually need the win. Because
and especially, I mean, Rey Mysterio got big result last night.
Yeah.
So I don't see him getting the big result twice.
Yeah. The reason why I think this match, funnily enough, both sides need the result is because people continuously are saying right now that the LWO isn't as exciting enough and they do need to turn heel to do it. I've already got my fantasy booking for the LWO that I hope happens further down the line. But,
yeah.
But genuinely, I do think the plan will definitely be they do turn heel on Rey Mysterio. And I think it definitely will be Santos that will genuinely kickstart everything, and rightfully so. But turning them heel right now, there's no need. But the Street Profits and Lashley need to get the result because they've failed to convince you as a heel because they're still doing the same babyface antics. Their entrance is still the same thing. All they've done is just Lashley still smiling on promos, but they're still wearing the same attire, same look. They're still doing the same entrance. They're not doing anything brutal or anything like that. There's been genuinely no change. So I'm like, I really want
the bunny.
But I still don't think even if it's Bad Bunny, you still get the win. I don't see any change because next week on SmackDown, it's going to be the same entrance, it's going to be the same promo, and it's going to be the same work. I feel like they don't know what they're doing with them, and that's why I think they've failed already. It's because they don't know what they're doing, and if they have to add more people into, I mean, there's reports that are coming from Fightful that Odyssey Jones is potentially going to get added to this group.
People keep speculating that Carmelo Hayes will be.
I don't think he's going in.
I think in a really strange way, the group needs Carmelo Hayes more than Carmelo Hayes needs to be in this group.
Carmelo's even though Lashley is the most successful out of all four of them, Carmelo Hayes seems just more of a superstar.
Carmelo Hayes could debut on Raw and challenge Cody Rhodes to a match. And people wouldn't be like, "Oh, who are you? What's this?"
Well, we don't always know that because that does depend on the crowd. But Carmelo is well received.
No, but I mean, the "who are you" is fine. But what I mean is, we wouldn't get "oh, what is this?" We wouldn't be like, "Why is Cody working with a job guy?"
Yeah, no, that's true.
Talent, and I think he could just come up. But whereas, I feel like this group needs Carmelo Hayes. It needs someone with that swagger. I just don't think Carmelo Hayes needs this group. The other thing I suppose I would question is that Cedric Alexander is still in the company. Last I checked,
he is.
Why is he not involved?
Because he's too busy getting flattened by Bronson Reed.
Yeah, when we're talking about things that aren't working, Bronson Reed.
There is one person that I absolutely loathe and detest because he bores me to death. Oh, Paul, thank you for subscribing to the channel, by the way. I've just got a notification, and thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Fantastic stuff, Paul.
Yeah.
Danny like Paul, everybody. Subscribe.
Danny says, imagine if it was MVP. Yeah, that funnily enough does come
MVP would be good.
MVP needs to be in the whole group with Lashley, but the name I was actually thinking about, even though I just don't like him because he bores me, they need someone like Omos. They do for different reasons. He just looks like a freak, even because he's so big.
I thought Omos got released.
No, he's not released. I think he's just injured.
All right.
But they definitely do need something. To be fair, but I actually appreciate this comment more than anything. I'm going to give this comment the time of day for a minute. No worries. Hard to find others who follow wrestling on the bigger channels. The bigger channels as well, the one thing they will do continuously is they will just feed to certain narratives, and I completely understand that. So I don't watch the likes of JD from New York and Jobber Nation. I don't watch them because they really do love their own narratives. I just enjoy wrestling, but when you look at whole Wrestle Purists are a good show to watch. I like WSI Wrestling Shoot Interviews because I like listening to shoot interviews and all that stuff. But when you look at just wrestling in general, what is it you're looking for? For me, I just love to talk wrestling, whether I'm right or wrong. I just don't care, and I love to just talk about it for day. I can talk about wrestling.
And you're usually wrong.
No, I'm not. But I think appreciation is important, and people really don't have a lot of appreciation for it these days. And it's a shame because there's so much to offer. And end of the day, people will love to slag anything off, and that's fine. But people also like to praise. And me in general, I just love wrestling. So I appreciate the comment, Paul. Thank you. And we do appreciate the subscriber. Thank you. Number 56. Thank you so much.
Yeah, number really 56. And let's keep it growing and going. But yeah, I mean, so I think it's going to be Bad Bunny, who is this third guy for the LWO. And then
it would be quite stupid to have him, though. It would be quite stupid to also have him now when it feels like a mystery where they've literally done nothing for it. If it was Bad Bunny, you just announce it. You don't need Bad Bunny as a mystery. The mad thing is, though, is the other one that could be absolutely mental because he is a friend of his. The crazy thing is, though, nobody's mentioned him, but it could actually crazily happen. The other one's Conan, by the way.
Conan, yeah, I mean, it could.
That's more of a mystery than Bad Bunny.
From a general public.
Well, Conan's well known in wrestling, like all around.
Yeah, but as I was saying earlier, like you don't want people for you don't want people for wrestling. You want people for the general public. You want people to be able to go, that's him. You know, you want like Simpsons pop culture references. You want that level of star. You don't want, let me look up his cage fight record, you know, like let me go on Cage Fight DD and check.
But that's a disrespect that legend like wrestling like literally legends have because of Muppets like that who just look at folk from Cage Fight and go, who is this? Like, fuck that lot. Genuinely, fuck the lot of them. I hate folk like that. I hate folk like that. They are disgrace to the wrestling fans in my opinion.
Ooh, something. Yeah, I got the wrong side of you. Anyway, so are you going with me? Going with LWO? What are you saying?
I've gone for LWO purely because LWO could still get the result, but then you could follow up by just the Street Profits finally just go fuck this and just beat the piss out of them. They haven't done that yet. Every time they've tried to beat up Rey Mysterio, they get pinned. Like they flop. It's funny enough that they do a lot of frog splashes, but they act like toads. Like they just don't get it. So I'm like, I want to see something significant. Even if they win LWO, I would like to see an immediate response where they just absolutely destroy them. In the moment of celebration, just rip them apart. Put fucking Rey Mysterio in the Hurt Lock. I'm alright with that.
Yeah,
watch him pass out.
I can see it potentially.
I'm just not overly, even though I really do like the LWO and I do like Lashley, I haven't been convinced by the Street Profits in this group. I think they've got it wrong. I think they have, but we'll see what happens for them. But I'm not overly excited by it. But yeah, so I've gone the LWO.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're going.
One of those matches that exist, and like you're intrigued to see what happens, but it isn't one that's gonna. I can't think this is the one that's been selling tickets.
Yeah,
I can't think this is the one that's been getting your network subscriptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be any of the other matches on the card are more attractive, more potentially sound out wrestling matches as well than this one. But it'll be all right. The 6 guys, 5 of the guys, and the mystery guy, they all know how to work. They'll probably all be absolutely fine, and it'll be a perfectly.
So you going Street Profits?
I'm going with Street Profits and Lashley here.
Okay, so that's our first differentiation of the night. That's fine. That's good. It's about time.
Let's see if there are any more as we push on to match 4 of 5.
This is an interesting one.
Gonna happen.
See, this is peak interest because end of the day, you've got the top merch seller, you've got a returning Cena who's in the ring, You've got Solo, who doesn't speak. At times isn't overly as convincing, but he's a physical threat. And then you've got the factor of Jimmy Uso, who I still don't think is good enough as a single. I don't think he is, but he's in his element though of tag team wrestling. That's the interesting part there, where he's in his element at least. Will he convince it? But you also have the added factor of Heyman at ringside, who has been authority-wise, he is behind Roman Reigns. His authority in that sense has continuously been questioned on SmackDown because of Jimmy Uso since he's rejoined the Bloodline. It's interesting to see where they go with this because...
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Uso's nicknamed the Shot Caller.
To be fair, his nickname for me is Jannetty Uso, because he has the Marty Jannetty out the two of them. Even though
that's not very nice. That's not very nice.
Here, I'm not overly convinced by him. I'd rather be honest than lie. I've never been interested by him. But
I mean, Jannetty, like, go with Matt Uso at least to Jeff Uso. You know, that's better than.
No,
Marty Jannetty didn't get any of a career.
Nah, I can't go with.
Matt Hardy at least got some singles titles, you know. Matt Hardy got an ECW run.
That wasn't even fun, but
no, but you at least got it. They at least tried it.
Fine, I'll go with it. Fine, I'll go with something more
like Edge and Christian, you know. Like
I can't do that. No, this is it.
Jimmy a little more.
Jimmy Uso is the Bubba Dudley. Is Bubba Dudley Uso? That's him. He is Bubba Uso. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Because Devon is the best out of the two.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially now, because all Billy Ray does every time Impact rolls into town is hurt what remains of the credibility. But I think he's now very much in debt when it comes to credibility.
He'll be back in WWE soon because he's Legends contract. So just remember that.
Oh no!
I told you this last night that he's on a Legends contract. He signed it literally before Impact 1000. So he's
hopefully it's like a Sting one and it's just merch.
They both signed it, so we'll see what happens. But yeah,
maybe it's just for Saudi shows. Like, hey, it's the Dudleys. Let's get a Dudley match. You know, we'll go through a table.
We've got another follower, but this time it's because we're streaming on Twitch. Camille B4. Oh, cool, cool name. Thanks very much. I haven't seen any of your comments yet, though, but thanks very much for following. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, get some comments in. Anyone watching, you know, you don't have to be a follower or a subscriber.
Absolutely. Get comments in, guys.
If you do, and you're not a follower or a subscriber or a fan in some way, and you do leave a comment, I find out where you live, and I come and visit you,
and
I make sure that we change that situation.
With a spike pile driver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we'll do is I'll hit Ray Phoenix's finisher, and then when you don't get up, I'll hit it again.
I still blame the referee for that one, for not just shooting.
100%. But anyway, so when it comes to this match, I already mentioned you've got four really, really, really hot baby faces. And I mean, you know, I don't mean in the attractive sense, but a couple of them most certainly are. But I do mean just in terms of their heat, or you know, how hot their push is. Obviously, heat you tend to heal. So
yeah,
you know, the support they have, and we're now dealing with LA Knight and John Cena. Now, John Cena is Teflon. He does not actually care what is in front of him. He is still John Cena. And the fans don't care what's in front of him because he's still John Cena. And I know you're on some bizarre, like, hate train for John Cena at the minute, but this man is remarkable as an actor, remarkable as a performer.
He had the worst match of 2023. Let me just tell you that for a start.
Oh, no, he did not.
WWE-wise, he's had the worst match of 2023. That match with Theory was fucking garbage.
Absolutely not.
Yes, it was. It was fucking dreadful.
It was not the worst.
It was worse than Lesnar versus Omos. Worse.
No, not having that.
I don't care if you're not having it. It's
simple.
It's my opinion.
Like, think about all of the matches that takes in. I mean, you're telling me that Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler was better than this.
I don't count that as a match. I call that as I didn't class that as a match. I classed that as eviction.
It was a match on WWE's sanctions. That
was an eviction notice of Ronda Rousey, so it was a positive.
Yeah, but WWE also billed it as a match. So as far as a match goes, it is one, and it was not better.
I'm still saying Cena versus. I'm still saying Cena versus.
Which was okay, a perfectly fine match. It could have taken place on an episode of Raw, but it didn't because it's John Cena and he's putting Austin Theory over at WrestleMania, and that, are we going to fault a guy for doing that now? But
his hairline, the man, like his hairline. Well, actually, I'll go even further. Like his hair in general, the man after this just needs to go back to Hollywood and stay there.
Not at all. I love seeing John Cena. I want John Cena on every week of every show.
I'd rather Randy Orton.
The episode where he's obviously going to do something fun at ringside, and when we talk about wrestling supposed to be fun, John Cena makes it fun, but it never feels.
It is the same, but it's what he's used to, I suppose. I mean, what he does has been the same thing for years, but I'm okay with that, I suppose.
Yeah, but it never feels like insulting. Like, I never have to lower my IQ to see the fun in John Cena. John Cena is just a really fun performer. And when we come to fun performers and people are just a joy to watch at the minute, are there people who are more exciting to watch right now than LA Knight?
LA Knight's the best out of the four in this match. Simple.
Well, I mean, yeah. Right now,
none of the other three come close to him. He's ahead of them all.
Well, John Cena's still John Cena. Still got the fact that he's John Cena there. But, I get what you're saying. But yeah, you can't have LA Knight lose this.
Yes and no. Funnily enough. And I'm not fence-sitting. I'm just saying yes and no.
Okay, how do you get out of Indianapolis alive without LA Knight winning?
He could still... Exactly. Paul just put it there.
Go on then.
Cena's happy to take a pin. LA Knight could still... Like, LA Knight could still be presented.
Match.
Yeah.
He'll take the pin in the solo match with, funnily enough,
You broke up there a bit, sorry. Go again.
Well, he'll take the pin in the solo match with Solo.
I hope so.
When it's John Cena's task to put Solo over, he'll do it then. But when you've got LA Knight as your partner, and this crowd is going to be at fever pitch for LA Knight, because every crowd is, because they love him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like letting Stone Cold lose. It genuinely is at this point. And you only have Stone Cold lose when he has to lose. You only have LA Knight lose when he has to lose. What do the Bloodline gain out of winning this match?
That extra control over the likes of Cena. It gives them that, where they can literally hold
But they know that Cena's away after Survivor Series. That doesn't even really add anything. We can control a part-timer.
Yeah, but it holds it over their head, where for the remainder of the time here, they can consistently and constantly remind him of the fact that he lost here. And it gets you to the point of, we're going to raise the stakes.
But he's going to lose to Solo. LA Knight doesn't need that on his record.
This is one that LA Knight can lose, but he doesn't need to take the pin. He doesn't have to win every single
No, but it's fine. But a loss is still a loss, and people will be like, "Oh, well, they put LA Knight on the team." It would be like if they did have Stone Cold come back. You know, Stone Cold came back as a tag partner, but was part of the losing effort. I just don't see it. I think it's got to be BST and a win.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight's got to get the pin over Jimmy Uso. That's the only way I see this one playing out. So, I mean,
it's not all for me.
Disagreements, I'll take them.
No, not that. There's a little bit added in for me where, personally, I want to see Paul Heyman just walk out on Jimmy Uso. Like, I just want to see him walk out on him. He won't have the balls to do it. Because, let's be real, Paul Heyman has had any balls as a manager for years. Even though he is generally excited on the mic.
But what does that do?
It sets the point where Jimmy Uso thinks he's in control of Heyman right now because Roman isn't there. He walks out on him. It sets the precedent of actually, hold on, mate, you ain't in charge, and I don't serve you.
Okay, but Heyman's also, Roman Reigns puts him in charge,
and he's constantly being superseded. But he's been superseded each and every single week by Jimmy Uso, who's trying to take. Well, he is not trying. He is taking control of every situation.
Paul Heyman's also and this has been a thing throughout his whole Brock Lesnar run and everything like that. He's physically intimidated because he can't match up to the wrestlers. So if he stands up to Jimmy Uso better just go, back in your lane, Paul. Yeah, fat ogre.
But Paul knows really who is in control. That's the difference. Jimmy Uso thinks he's in control. It's like what you said last night, funnily enough, about the false god thing with CM Punk. Jimmy Uso thinks he's in control, but he's actually the false leader. Because let's be real, he ain't in control. And Paul could easily just have Solo stick the knife in him as well. He could. And he can get that authorized easily by using his Siri. He can easily just get authorized.
He could, but let's do that after the match.
Potentially.
Let's have Solo deliver the spike after the match. If that's what you're going to do, let's let LA Knight actually get the win. Because LA Knight got the win over The Miz. Fantastic. He's had wins over TV opponents. Incredible. This would actually be huge for him because he'd be pinning part of the bloodline.
That's true, especially recently.
That's on Roman Reigns' radar, which would then go back to the promo where he said, "Nah, sure as hell don't give a damn about Roman Reigns." You could then theoretically have people guessing: will it be Cody? Will it be LA Knight? Will the two come to blows over who gets to say Roman?
And LA Knight is LA Knight. I've been a fan of for years. I've been a fan of LA Knight for years, and I find LA Knight more entertaining than I've ever found Roman Reigns. Consistently, I just find more to him that's different. But
well, as I said, Roman Reigns has this captivating presence right now.
He's never, to be fair, he's never captivated me. But that's because there's just something about it. It just doesn't resonate with me. But that's just.
I mean, a lot of the people who don't get Roman Reigns now are the people that didn't like the Big Dog Run. I was a child when that was taking place, so I really didn't mind it. I found him kind of cool.
I just love seeing Brock Lesnar smash him every now and again, to be fair.
But, no, Brock Lesnar was obviously public enemy number one with me. when it came to wrestling. So I wanted Roman Reigns to just...
He's always public enemy number one to use.
Yeah, but I wanted Roman Reigns to just smoke him, like even during the big dog phase. You know, I was rooting for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Because that's what children do. The same way that like adults don't like Cena. But if you saw him as a child, you were always on his side. So, you know, it worked in that regard. But I think Roman Reigns is really, really, really good. I think his in-ring work's the weakest part, but I think having him go up against LA Knight or Cody, in either case, has to result in the end of the reign. I don't then know what you do with Cody if LA Knight is the one that actually finishes his story. I feel like that only leads to a Cody Rhodes heel turn.
Yeah, there is one other name though, funnily enough, like as an added factor who was supposed to be in this one, but obviously got written off in the right way. We still have AJ Styles as well.
Absolutely.
And that's a match that I've said is going to happen, and it's going to happen. Styles will face Roman.
Let's put AJ in the bloodline.
Let's not put AJ in the bloodline.
So I'm putting AJ in the bloodline.
I don't want him in that sense of it. Don't need him at all. I want him to stick with Mia Yim personally. Forget Anderson and Gallows. I mean, keep Carl Anderson around, but Luke Gallows can fuck off. But Styles, I want to go back to that solo, like, lone wolf that he was. It was working really well. But in terms of, like, still need him to get that match with Roman. But unfortunately, we all know the outcome he's going to lose, which is kind of shit because Styles schools Roman every day and twice on Sundays.
Yeah, so this is where you need a heel US champ.
I would like to see Styles hold
the IC title. Because then, like, Styles could either be the heel US champ or just take it. But of course, if you do Styles as heel US champ, you are just going over old ground because Styles
I don't want
beat Mysterio to win the US title. So
I'm sick of seeing Styles as a heel, though. I want him to just stay as a babyface for a bit.
I get that, but at least as a heel, he gets on screen. And speaking of heels that get on screen, there's people that are saying they're getting bored of Bloodline stuff.
Still,
if Roman Reigns makes a surprise appearance on this show, it will get all the reaction that it needs. If The Rock, for some reason, was to appear, it will get all the reaction that it needs. Bear in mind that this story and building this match, WWE haven't even, funnily enough for Fastlane, they haven't even gotten out of first gear to build this match. Like, LA Knight has gotten over organically. John Cena is John Cena. And the Bloodline have been around for so long and they're so hated that they could do anything. And it's going to work. So I think the faces win here. I think it's got to be John Cena gets the tag to LA Knight. Maybe John Cena takes the spike, but Solo doesn't see that it's been tagged in, or like maybe even Solo goes for the spike, and then LA Knight grabs him from behind. BFT 1, 2, 3, and I know they'd be like, Solo's been pinned. I'm like, well, yeah, if Solo gets pinned, it's even bigger for LA Knight because he's beaten the enforcer of the Bloodline.
Agreed. And Paul, you're spot on. Roman matches aren't good at all.
Yeah,
they aren't.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've never been good. But you're completely spot on with this.
The run itself, like this character, is incredible. It is extraordinary cinema, is what I would say.
I'm not going to call it
that. Oh, go on, dude. Bite.
No, not happening. Not happening. You know my thoughts on it. I enjoy wrestling, but I'm not going to call it that. Just like I'm not going to call any of these matches. Just like I'm not going to call any of these matches bangers because that's been overused, which is a damn shame because it was kind of cool at first, but now it feels now it feels stale. But I don't disagree with any of your points. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I still think you could get a positive out of the babyfaces losing, but I also don't think they will. Like, again, I don't. I think you're gonna get something from it by having them win.
Yeah,
you're gonna get more out of having
these babyfaces win than having these babyfaces lose.
But they do need to really be effective with it, especially because after Survivor Series, that's it. There's no events after Survivor Series. That's it. So they really do need to pull some out, standing trigger. Will they? We'll find out. We're gonna find out. The last one, and this is where we could literally talk for ages on this one, because I am very, very excited for this, but also thought process goes back to what Paul said earlier on about cash-ins. And I said earlier on, if you're Damian Priest, you would be an absolute fucking idiot and a fool not to cash in on either Rollins or Nakamura after Last Man Standing. It's so brutal. This match, because it's only a 5-match card, this match should go longer than 30 minutes. A Last Man Standing is about timing. This has to go 25, 30, even 35 minutes. It cannot be 15, 20-minute match. That sucks.
Yeah.
It has to go. You have to give this time. Especially because it's about who literally can outlast their opponent. I also think in a crazy way, this one could also end in a draw. This could crazy enough end in a draw and you still get a cash in. It could end with a cash in, whoever gets the result. There's so many different outcomes to this one match because of the stipulation. I love Last Man Standing matches. The last Man Standing match, fun enough, I watched, I enjoyed, that was on main roster, was Nakamura versus Styles, funnily enough.
Yeah, I was waiting on the main roster qualifier
NXT,
there. Of course,
NXT obviously, Dijak. Yeah.
And
that was great. That was great.
No, I'm with you. I actually do quite like Last Man Standing matches. I think they can be done well. I think they can be done very poorly as well.
Yeah, for the record, by the way,
on the whole, they're actually quite good.
Yeah, for the record, I wanted to say, for the record, I did not like Edge versus Randy Orton Last Man Standing at WrestleMania. I wasn't a fan of it just because it was in the Performance Center and it was in front of no fans. Like, for me, like, even though it had good quality, I just didn't enjoy it for the fact is because it was COVID. I'm not saying it's their fault. Like, I'm not blaming them.
Yeah, I get that.
It's just that even though I like the way
blaming the pandemic on Edge and Randy Orton, but what you're saying is the match wasn't really what you wanted to see. And yeah, I get you. And they tried to correct that when they did the greatest wrestling match ever at Backlash.
Yeah, exactly. And
Last Man Standing matches can be poor, but like every match, it's dictated by the crowd, it's dictated by how far you're willing to go, and it's also dictated by the story going in. And the story going into this one is really strong because we're continuing on from what we've had. And I really liked this, and I don't remember, it's probably happened so many times, but I love that the build to the Last Man Standing match was Nakamura knocking Seth Rollins out for a count of 10.
I really love that.
It's so simple, but it was so effective. I was like, oh man, I want to see this match now. I want to see it. I want to see the stipulation. I want to see who wins. And I want to see Nakamura win. I said it the first time that these two locked horns last time out. I want to see this match end with a Nakamura win. Now, I only want to see it end with a Nakamura win if Priest isn't cashing in for some reason. If Priest is cashing in, please don't have him cash in on Nakamura.
Yeah.
I think it's time that we saw what Nakamura could do if he is actually full-time and this isn't just a little stint of matches that we're getting out of him, I would love to see what he can do as World Heavyweight Champion. And I think it's much like we said with Io Sky, it would feel so fresh to have Nakamura at the top of the card, not just as a main eventer, but as the champion. You know,
I hope
he's not just in the main event scene. He is as far as Raw goes, he will be the top guy if he wins this match.
Yeah,
and that opens up a lot of doors for a few months, because obviously you want something to happen with the Damian Priest thing. You need something to happen with it because you've already made your bed by doing it. Now, of course, that was June. You've still got a lot of time, so you can still get a 6-7 month Nakamura reign going.
Yeah, there's just one problem.
Go.
6-7 months time, Gunther's going to be wrestling WrestleMania in the main event with that, like potentially either with or without the IC title, but he's going to be going for the world title. Nakamura's not going to be a babyface champion, and Gunther's not going to be a babyface.
No, I get that.
So that's going to be like, as much as I like the idea of it, it really, unless he loses it at the Elimination Chamber, which would be a bit of a shame, because I think Nakamura deserves a chance to take the title into WrestleMania if he does win it.
Well, when I took a look at what could happen with this title,
there is so much that you could do with it, and it is intriguing. Like,
I ended up with a triple threat, but it wasn't. I looked at it a while ago. It wasn't the guys that you would probably have involved now.
You include a jobber in your triple threat. You included a jobber. You included Sami Zayn.
That's just not very nice at all, is it?
He's been used like one recently. I can only go with what I'm feeling. Unfortunately, I do like the guy, but he's same as Bayley.
It's just not nice, Reece. It's just not nice.
I'm sorry, but you're telling me I'm not nice.
Sami Zayn's a very, very good wrestler. And
I never said he wasn't.
He deserves to be in a world title picture. He'd have to earn his way. But as I said, that's why Elimination Chamber, you would have Sami Zayn win. I mean, it would be better if that event was back at.
You were
Montreal.
thinking of Styles. Yeah, if you were thinking of the likes of Styles and all that was champion. It is actually interesting as well, though, that you've got the Elimination Chamber those in Australia.
Yeah, especially with no Australia. Well, actually, they've got Grayson Waller, don't they?
He is so green. He is so green.
I know, but he hits some moves nicely. It's okay.
I like his mic work, but
Head here is saying that Seth Rollins retains. I just don't know what that means for Nakamura.
They fumbled on Nakamura 5 years ago as WWE champion because Styles was still doing really well, but they fumbled on the fact that you had the former leader of Chaos versus the former leader of Bullet Club at the main event of WrestleMania. Well, SmackDown's main event of WrestleMania, I should say, because the real main event was absolute garbage. You had the chance to pull something great. You had Nakamura do a brilliant heel turn, and you still fumble putting the title on him, and you've never done it since. Fast forward 5 years, Nakamura is finally as hot as he was then, as he is now, arguably hotter, and he's gone back to that crazy chaos type character where he's cutting these bizarre charismatic promos where he's doing it all in Japanese with a little bit of English. But it's that it's similar to an Asuka promo, funnily enough, where it's that when he does speak in English, it's so subtle, but it's effective. And it's when he does it in Japanese, you're getting the subtitles, and it's absolutely brilliant what you're getting. If they don't put this world title on him, then that's it. That's it for him. He will never be hot again as he is now, unless he went back to Japan. This is literally for me, this is last chance saloon. You don't win the world title in a last man standing, where do you go from there? Because you're certainly not going to be taken seriously for okay, he's got a third world title match against Seth Rollins. What's he going to do this time? Beat him in a ladder match? No, he beats him. Rollins beats him again. Like you can't go for it would be, fans would have lost interest if they'd done that a third time, even though it's really exciting. I just don't know what you can get from it. If they don't put the world title on him, I really will be gutted, because I love Nakamura. I've loved Nakamura for so long. He's absolutely fantastic. They don't put it on him, then I generally don't know where they go with him. And Paul,
that's not worrying.
I agree. I think I don't speak English promos are so fucking funny. They're brilliant because he does it with that sick smile. That sick smile he pulls is so damn fun. And it always draws me in. He's like, I don't speak English. And he does that smirk. And I'm like, this guy, you're a right bastard. But I love it. And that's what I love about Nakamura, is his presentation is perfect. His timing is outstanding. His match quality is great.
It feels like they've nailed it this time on how to present him as well.
And I still don't forgive Cena for how he took that suplex when he should have beat fucking Jinder Mahal in 2017 at SummerSlam. So I don't forgive Cena for that. But in terms of
now it's starting to come out.
Yeah,
the reason why he beat John Cena is actually because he stopped Nakamura from winning.
No, that's not the reason why I don't like Cena.
We're threading it all together, people. We're putting his narrative in place.
There's more to it than that, but
where were you on the night of the murder? But that's the next question.
But my big thing is just what I've said there is Nakamura is so hot now, where Seth Rollins, let's be real, Seth Rollins needs a break because the man is physically ruined. He's admitted it himself.
Yeah, well, this was the other thing. If Seth Rollins is genuinely hurt, which, okay, pretty much everyone knows. I mean, WWE's made a bleeding story out of it. They've made a feud out of real-life injuries, which
and it's getting
WWE have been able to do pretty well recently. I do like that they do that. I mean, it was like Becky Lynch's shoulder injury that they actually built into the story by having it aggravated on camera, because it was like a perfectly safe attack on an injured body part. And then they were able to go, oh, that's written her off. And then she was back after she'd healed from the real injury. But it built into the storyline. She was able to go, and it was you that hurt my arm. It wasn't training. It wasn't wear and tear. No, it was your attack, and you hurt my arm, and I'm going to get even with you.
Bingo,
so Rollins needs to go and take that route.
I want that for him. I want Seth Rollins to go and take a break. I wouldn't mind, even if Rollins came back and Rollins took the title off Nakamura anyway, they could easily do that. I'm not saying they should, but even if it came back and it's still Rollins still wants to defend the world title at WrestleMania, I've got no problem with that. But ideally, if you're going to have Rollins at WrestleMania, I want it to be a fully recovered, or to an extent where he's at his best and he's up against the best choice in Gunther. I still think it is going to be Gunther at WrestleMania, but I want it at least where both men are getting the absolute best out of each other, not an absolute broken down shell of a man. I don't want to see that, because I still like Seth Rollins. I still enjoy Seth Rollins' work, even though I'd like a little bit of a change. His in-ring work is still fantastic. But
it will still get you a very good match on a show.
But I just don't want to see a broken. I don't want to see a broken Rollins defend the title against Gunther, when Gunther, if he's going to be world champion, he deserves the best version of his opponent.
So you want Rollins to be the IC opponent?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to happen, but I still reiterate what I want for WrestleMania. I want it to be just like it happened at WrestleMania 6. I want it to be Gunther is in the Ultimate Warrior position, except he can wrestle. And I want Seth Rollins to be in the Hulk Hogan position, even though Seth Rollins can wrestle. I want it to be champion versus champion, title for title. And I want it to be Gunther wins and takes the title off Rollins, and he holds both. Then the next night on Raw, well, not next night, actually, it'll be Monday Night Raw, because it'll be the Monday, because they'll have night one, which will be the Saturday.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, Gunther comes out as double champion, and he goes, I've done my time. I've done what I could with the Intercontinental Championship. Nobody's beaten me for it. I am the greatest Intercontinental Champion, even though I still think it's Mr. Perfect. That's just my personal preference. But he comes out and he says, I am the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Nobody's going to beat me for it. So I've just decided I'm no longer going to defend it. I'm going to just continue with the world title. And then we get exactly what happened with Perfect anyway, where it was a tournament and it ends at Backlash, and it could be Chad Gable. I'm not too bothered, but whoever wins it has something to work for, where it's a vacant title tournament and they win the IC title at Backlash. So that's what I'm hoping for. It's not going to happen anyway, but that's what I want. I'd like to see them do that. They're not going to. So
your booking goes in an interesting way though, because if you want Seth Rollins to get that time off,
he has to lose tonight.
You want Seth Rollins to lose the belt, come back and win it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. It's an interesting choice. I suppose it depends on when you did it, because there's a fine line. Because if you go too close, Nakamura shouldn't just disappear. If you're saying that Nakamura wins the belt, to then drop it back to Rollins, like in a few months, you've got to time it very finely, so that it's not the case that we do, though he's a heel, we don't want to do a Kofi with Nakamura.
Correct.
Where he just forgets he was champion.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that part at least, but I'd like for
him to still remember. That's where I think the risk is with what you're saying.
I would at least go fast in the Rumble.
WWE thought they had a new build, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to do Brock versus Cain Velasquez," and then we thought, "Okay, well, I mean, at least after this, Kofi's not going to give up on being a world champion, is he?" And it's like, no, he literally forgot that he was. Which is just sad.
Yeah. This is also a
no
good
one
point.
Should be doing that as a character or as a shoot.
Yeah. It's another good point, Paul. Great points from you tonight.
Yeah, Paul, I've got to replace Reece with you in a minute.
They definitely don't need
yeah, this was the other thing that I wondered. People are all going like, "Oh, it's CM Punk in Chicago, by the way, WWE." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, makes perfect sense." What if he was just there tonight? Seth,
yeah,
obviously was very public about calling Punk a cancer in the locker room, even. Easy enough for me to say. But what if CM Punk, so imagine the match is just going on, and then on the screen you get graphics, and it's just like, it's Chicago scenery, famous Chicago things, and then you have words come up on the screen that say the apology must be as loud and public as the disrespect, and then CM Punk lays out Seth Rollins, costing him his title as the apology for the disrespect. You could even put the clip in if you want. So without the question, you just have that clip of Seth Rollins going, no, absolutely not. Keep that guy away from me. He's cancer in the locker room. And then it just cuts to the apology must be as loud and public as the disrespect. And then CM Punk absolutely batters Seth Rollins. And Nakamura gains out of it because Nakamura's the heel, so he'll get booed. It'll actually get him booed, except of course it won't because CM Punk's doing it. So it'll get him cheered to high horses, but then Nax can get his seat back the following night, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
I think if you want to build anything between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, you probably want to build match one for Chicago already.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I would suggest that you actually just have CM Punk at tonight's show.
But they're already building it to anyway. They're already building to. Like, it seems that they're already building to Punk versus Nakamura. Punk versus Rollins.
What Corey Graves said, right?
Yeah, it's always during a segment that involves Seth Rollins, funnily enough. Whether it be Cole or Graves, it's always when Rollins is there.
Yeah, so Corey Graves won last night, for the people who didn't see it. He obviously used the line from Ring of Honor days, CM Punk. It was going to be Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. The little graphic was coming up, and Corey Graves said, well, the greatest trick the devil pulled was to fool the world into believing that he didn't exist. And then, you know, I saw a thing on TikTok where it was basically the cut of CM Punk saying that in a Ring of Honor ring. And I'm like, he might actually be at this show. If he's at this show, there is no danger of a cash-in.
Yes.
Because you don't do all of that.
Yeah, that completely steals that thunder. It does.
CM Punk will steal Damian Priest's thunder. No one will steal CM Punk's thunder.
Yeah, he won't allow it.
That reaction is going to be insane. And if it's tonight, it is going to be all the wrestling world can talk about. Adam Copeland's going to have to fade off quietly into the background, as if he hasn't already, because that's just it.
Yeah. That's true.
It's death stuff. And I think that makes perfect sense. If he actually just costs him tonight.
Possibly. So I'm going to ask you.
Then the fans in Chicago know that CM Punk's there.
Yeah. And then you've got the hostility coming. Paul saying with AEW making waves with Adam Cole, and I guess W could use a big return to Trump. Like, yeah, exactly that. That's a good point. So I'm going to ask you now, as we close the show. As we close the show, 2 questions. 1,
go.
Who are you going with? And 2, are you going cash in or no cash in? Once he's got the briefcase, I'm just going to be asking every single fucking show until it's gone. So I'm just going to add it. So, and this still counts. It still counts the predictions. If you get no, then you're getting a point. If you get yes and the cash in, you're still getting a point anyway because it's still cash in, whether it be successful or not.
It's a prediction. It's part of it.
So I'm asking you. So
I'm
first
going with Seth Rollins to retain. Because I don't see them taking it off him.
Yep.
And I'm going with no cash in. And you don't have to mark this down as a point. I'm going no cash in because I've fooled myself into believing that CM Punk's at this show.
If he is, then I'll be very intrigued. I bet against Rollins last time because I thought it'd be perfect to have Nakamura take off him.
Yeah, and how far did that get you?
To be fair, I did say to you, I didn't really matter who. I did say it didn't matter to me who won or lost because I like both anyway. I was more convinced by Nakamura versus Rollins than I was Balor versus Rollins because that just didn't work both times. It didn't work twice. But
they did their best. I like the way that Finn Balor. Finn Balor seemed to lean into it more than Seth Rollins did. You know, but the fact that it seems to be more about will Judgment Day turn on each other and Damian Priest costing him. We could have probably done without Damian Priest in that situation at all. I get why he was there. I like the little money in the bank briefcase spot in the second match. I thought that was pretty cool, but ultimately, that match would have benefited from a lack of Damian Priest.
Yeah, I agree.
But I enjoyed both matches, but that's because both guys can really go. The same way that I enjoyed Seth Rollins and Nakamura, bar the finish in the first one. The finish was really just sort of...
Yeah.
it felt really out of nowhere.
But at least they followed it. At least they followed up by Nakamura going, "Fuck this," and he just ripped him after the match.
Yeah, no, that is true, because I mean, WWE in previous iterations would have just went, "I lost, move on."
Yeah. So the question is, do I bet against my guy, or do I go with my guy? Because they're both guys I really like. So this is the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, so really the question is, which guy do you back, and which guy do you bet against? You know, if they're both yours.
Last time I bet against
right now.
Yeah, last time I bet against Rollins, and he won. I'm an advocate for him going away and get recovered and then coming back, but this is WWE, and WWE have been letting me down when it comes to what I've wanted for a long time. So I'm gonna go with a title retention, unfortunately.
Okay,
but I hope
cash in or no cash in.
You've really annoyed me now, because now I think that Punk could actually be there. That actually had me on us. I was thinking he would be at Chicago, but he's got a fucking...
I've had people on strings before and been wrong. You know, remember my Kevin Owens theory? God, that doesn't feel like this year. It was.
I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to say cash in, yes.
All right, then.
Because I stand by what I said 1 hour ago and 30 minutes ago. He would be an absolute fool not to at least go for it after a last man standing.
He's not going for it if CM Punk's there. That is why I didn't do it.
That's the only difference.
I have convinced myself that CM Punk is at this show, and then you do not do a cash in as well.
If Punk is there, then we know we're not getting a cash in. If he isn't, then I think, well, you're literally getting one of each, which is quite intriguing. So that's definitely it, guys.
Yeah, and the fact that you could get to the end of a show that's got Cody and Cena and LA Knight, and obviously this new Mighty Over Jey Uso character, and you've got Io Sky and Asuka and Charlotte, and that's a really good match. You could get to the end of all of this action, and it could all boil down to 5 seconds if we hear that static and the opening guitar riff. No one's going to care about anything that they've seen. Like, the place is just going to erupt. And I think just one last thing on it, they've shown as well that they're not actually afraid to have these massive surprises in small markets. You know, comparatively,
Correct.
Indianapolis isn't that huge. It's certainly not on Chicago's level for wrestling market. But
agreed.
I mean, remind me, where did The Rock return? I'm between saying Colorado and Columbus, Ohio.
I think it was Columbus, because I think it was Colorado. It was in Colorado, because that's where the Pat McAfee show was.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the people of Colorado just shat their pants.
Literally.
Because it's The Rock. Oh, it's actually happening. So
yeah.
WWE wouldn't be afraid to go, hey, the people of Colorado really liked when The Rock was there. Do you think the people of Indianapolis would like CM Punk to show up?
I agree. And I really do like that. I like the prospect. If it happens, then fantastic. We certainly have something.
And then, of course, every show that we do, up until he falls out with WWE, it'll have to be all about him again. But the wrestling world, it just seems to revolve around him.
I know. I'm looking forward to that part. That's going to be so fucking funny. But guys, we have went nearly an hour and 35 minutes. This has been an absolutely fantastic preview show. Thank you to Paul Clark for coming in for the first time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Danny, good to see you as well. To everyone who's watching on the replays, get your predictions in the comments. We'll come back to them. I'll add you to the list. And we always do it. We will be reviewing it obviously, we will review Fastlane next week, and then we'll also look at like how weekly TV does, because we always generally just do that. But in the meantime, thank you to everyone that's watched tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Fastlane starts in 50 minutes, so enjoy that. I'm not watching the pre-show because it'll be absolute wank. But in the meantime, it's been a good show. So goodbye from us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And Fastlane is definitely going 120 miles an hour. Bye for now.